Is for People magazine, and of course this is all about the first episode drops of From Meghan with Love.
Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse this week, Meghan Markle has only gone to People magazine.
Just when you thought the Sussex saga couldn't drop any lower, Meghan Markle has pulled a move that will leave you absolutely stunned. She didn't just casually speak to People magazine, she seemingly utilized the prominent publication to subtly, yet powerfully, undermine her own husband. This isn't merely a standard public relations exercise. It's a masterclass in calculated narrative control, a precise and deliberate manipulation of public perception that forces us all to ask the most unsettling of questions. Are we currently witnessing the soft launch of a burgeoning solo career? Or are we, in fact, observing the quiet yet inexorable implosion of a once highly publicized royal marriage? The implications are far-reaching and deeply unsettling. People magazine, which has undeniably served as her most favored media conduit for meticulously curated narratives over the years, once again provided the perfect platform for her latest move. But let's be clear, this was decidedly not the saccharine love and lattes feature or the glowing family spread that we've grown accustomed to seeing. Oh no. This particular piece carried a razor-sharp edge, a tactical and overtly aggressive shift in messaging that cuts with astonishing precision. And the photographs accompanying the entire story? A glaring detail emerges immediately. They're nearly a year old, a deliberate visual disconnect that screams volumes about their current reality. This was never intended to be about a couple's journey together, a shared narrative of growth. It was from its very inception about Meghan singularly seizing absolute control of the narrative. People, it has become undeniably apparent, has transformed into the Sussexes' most potent and unwavering propaganda arm since the rather peculiar and often criticized outings of Omid Scobie. The message embedded within the article was, beyond any shadow of a doubt, anything but accidental. Every word, every image placement was designed for maximum impact. Remarkably absent from this latest media salvo was any form of glowing praise for Harry's signature red-headed charm or any effusive, gushing mentions of their expansive and costly Netflix empire. Instead, Meghan very deliberately delivered a potent, yet artfully unspoken declaration. She carefully, painstakingly, portrayed herself as the evolved, exceptionally career-driven, and spiritually aligned woman embarking on a compelling journey of deep personal growth and unwavering community connection. And Harry? Poor Harry was almost cruelly relegated to the role of an emotionally anchored figure, seemingly caught and trapped by a quagmire of past grievances and lingering resentments. You could almost viscerally hear the unstated message echoing loudly from the pages. If this union ultimately falters and finally crashes, do not dare to look in my direction. I assure you, I made every possible effort. I tried. She even went to extraordinary lengths to subtly distance herself from the relentless and highly publicized royal rift, implying with clear intent that it's most certainly not her doing, not her fault. This was, in essence, far less an interview, in the traditional sense, and far more a strategic reframing of her entire public image, a calculated recalibration designed for maximum personal benefit. Make no mistake, this prominent People magazine profile wasn't some casual leak, a spontaneous revelation, or an offhand, unthinking comment. No, darling, this was a meticulously coordinated drop, a true PR power play dressed deceptively in soft pastels and bathed in dreamy, almost ethereal aesthetics. Such a prominent and strategically placed feature simply does not materialize out of thin air without direct high-level engagement and active orchestration. This entire exercise was painstakingly crafted, curated with surgical precision, and undeniably weaponized for a specific, predetermined outcome. Think back to those infamous early 2000s celebrity breakup teasers, Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake's cryptic song lyrics, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt lobbing coded messages through the pages of high-gloss fashion magazines. But Meghan? She's not playing the same game. She's delivering a front-facing, singular monologue, a clear and unequivocal signal of a deliberate move towards self-preservation and independent action. Most famous couples, even the hyper-aware Beckhams, understand the fundamental wisdom of never publicly airing their marital disputes through the media. Yet Meghan appears to be forging her own unprecedented path, seemingly unwilling to wait around for Harry to fully process and unpack his complex royal trauma before she boldly ascends to her next meticulously planned phase. Be that a powerful media titan, a globally recognized wellness guru, or perhaps even a formidable future political hopeful, the scope of her ambition appears boundless. The article painted a vividly clear and undeniably pointed picture, and to spoil the ultimate ending, it certainly wasn't a romantic idyll bathed in the warm hues of eternal devotion. Meghan Markle emerged from its pages as the serene, almost mystically ethereal goddess of Montecito, gracefully sipping organic teas, meticulously journaling under the soft glow of moonlight, and carefully arranging crystals for optimal energy flow throughout her opulent residence. She's explicitly depicted as the visionary, the grounded and stabilizing force, the spiritual CEO meticulously guiding their brand new American life. Harry, in stark and deeply troubling contrast, is framed as the disheveled supporting act, caught and seemingly trapped in an emotional time warp, perpetually pacing phantom palace halls in his mind and reliving deep-seated royal pain like a daily, inescapable loop. This isn't mere PR spin designed to soften an image. It's a narrative pivot so sharp and so devastatingly effective that it could literally cut glass with its precision. The entire piece essentially attempts to canonize Meghan as the patron saint of Santa Barbara wellness and emotional clarity, while Harry is unequivocally portrayed as a royal relic, tragically unable to adapt or simply get with the new program. The contrast couldn't be more pronounced or more deliberate. Then came the phrase that hit like a sudden, unexpected thunderbolt, a single sentence that immediately ignited 1,000 digital firestorms across every corner of royal social media. Meghan wishes her husband could feel less burdened by the past and more present in the life they've built together. Read it initially, in isolation, and it might sound like a simple, genuine expression of spousal concern, a supportive wife offering empathy. Read it a second time, with the context of the entire article, and it profoundly transforms into pure, unadulterated PR poetry, a masterclass in subtle accusation. This isn't just a casual observation, it's a covert diagnosis of Harry's perceived psychological state. It's a bright red flag, delicately yet strategically wrapped in a lavender-scented handkerchief, the powerful unspoken meaning that resonates from it. Harry's clearly struggling. He's undeniably miserable, and Meghan is no longer willing or able to maintain the pretense that all is well. If Meghan is publicly expressing a desire for Harry to simply snap out of it, then what precisely does that truly imply about the supposed perfection and sustainability of their highly publicized escape plan? The sheer audacity, or perhaps the sheer strategic brilliance of it all? Meghan herself avoids making any direct accusations. Instead, she allows this single, carefully placed quote to carry the immense and devastating weight of implication. It's soft power in its most potent and sophisticated form, a mere whisper that paradoxically reverberates with the force of a scream. Meghan, in this carefully constructed scenario, retains her absolute composure, appearing as the mindful queen in effortlessly elegant linen, while Harry is left as the tragic figure, haunted, undeniably lost, and most devastatingly, seemingly unable to keep pace with his rapidly evolving wife. In this ruthless clash of public perception and strategic narrative, it's definitively St. Meghan versus the melancholic prince, and this round, beyond any doubt, belongs decisively to the Duchess wielding the essential oils and the perfectly aimed quote. Across the Atlantic, within the ancient, echoing chambers of Buckingham Palace, the response to this latest public salvo couldn't have been more absolute, more profound, or more chilling. You lit the fuse. Don't expect us to extinguish the flames for you. The British royal family's collective reaction? A stunning, impenetrable silence. And in the precise, nuanced lexicon of royal communication, silence isn't merely passive. It's a powerful, deliberate rebuke. It represents the most unequivocal and definitive dismissal they can possibly deliver, a rejection veiled in centuries of velvet protocol and unyielding tradition. There have been no official statements of concern, no counter-arguments or rebuttals, and certainly no hushed clandestine peace negotiations. Just a profound, pervasive stillness. A quiet freeze so complete it could easily be mistaken for an institutional ghosting. Harry didn't just cause minor damage to relationships. He quite literally incinerated the royal landscape with the publication of Spare. He unleashed a torrent of devastation upon his own lineage. Camilla was depicted as a cunning, manipulative PR puppet master. William was painted as a simmering cauldron of uncontrolled jealousy and barely contained rage, and King Charles was portrayed as emotionally barren, aloof, and oblivious to his youngest son's suffering. That wasn't merely a family history. It was, in essence, a televised family feud, meticulously printed in hardcover form for global consumption. Whispers from within royal circles strongly suggest that William has finally reached his absolute limit, a point of no return. Camilla, reportedly, can barely bring herself to acknowledge Harry's very name. And Charles? He faces far graver and more immediate concerns, prioritizing his own health and the stability of the monarchy above all else. Reconciling with his estranged and rebellious son is simply not at the forefront of the royal agenda right now. No gestures of peace. Not a single olive branch has been extended. The true, unvarnished depth of this unfolding royal fracture, however, runs far deeper and is infinitely more complex than a mere handful of carefully placed magazine quotes could ever convey. It's the constant, grinding friction of two individuals who hold fundamentally opposing views of their own pasts, their current realities, and their ultimate futures. Harry, seemingly forever tethered to the spectral ghosts of Kensington Palace, continues to tirelessly seek acknowledgement, a formal apology, and crucially access to a world that has, with unwavering finality, closed its doors to him. He clings with desperate tenacity to a romanticized and idealized vision of family, even as that very family has delivered the coldest and most uncompromising of shoulders. He yearns with an almost palpable longing for inclusion in the royal group chat, seemingly genuinely baffled that his torrent of public accusations and private revelations has yielded nothing but an overwhelming and crushing sense of ostracization. It's the bitter and undeniable harvest of setting the venerable family tree ablaze, and then, in a remarkable display of disconnect, wondering why you are no longer invited to the exclusive garden party. Meghan, conversely, embodies the very essence of relentless, almost ruthless self-reinvention. She doesn't merely transition or move on from a situation, she accelerates with startling speed, leaving behind a fragrant vapor trail of meticulously cultivated contentment and serene self-possession. While Harry remains undeniably mired in the emotional quicksand of royal trauma and unresolved grievances, Meghan is already, with astounding foresight, charting ambitious new courses for her next ventures. She's systematically constructing her expansive lifestyle empire, securing strategic partnerships with highly influential A-list figures and powerful female CEOs, and meticulously crafting a public narrative of fierce independence and unwavering self-sufficiency. Her every move is precise, her language concise, every public utterance scrubbed clean, and delivered with the practiced ease of a seasoned media professional, as if it emerged directly from a top-tier focus group. She's not simply managing a crisis, she's sculpting a flawless public persona, an image of a perfectly centered, forward-thinking woman who desires nothing more than absolute tranquility and peace, a stark and undeniable contrast to Harry's perceived brooding and perpetually haunted disposition. The most captivating and perhaps chilling element of this entire unfolding drama isn't the scandal itself or the accusations, but Meghan's masterful and subtle application of passive positioning and unspoken influence. She completely abstains from engaging in direct confrontations. She avoids any form of theatrical histrionics or public outbursts. Instead, she allows silence and delicate, often veiled suggestion to carry the most profound and devastating weight of implication. A discreet source close to Meghan speaks with an authority and impact far greater than 1,000 screaming headlines ever could. This profound, almost glacial detachment, this pervasive air of "I've done all I possibly could," is absolute catnip for public opinion, captivating audiences worldwide. It consistently casts her as the composed and rational figure, the unwitting recipient of another's emotional immaturity, the strong woman gracefully shouldering the immense burden of someone else's royal baggage. But fundamentally, at its very core, its strategic disengagement, Meghan isn't merely stepping away from the visible fault lines within their relationship. She's gently, yet firmly, guiding our collective gaze toward precisely who stands directly upon them. And make no mistake, that finger points squarely and unmistakably at Harry. Consider the stark and profound irony that now defines Harry's existence. He fled the British monarchy, a gilded cage, seeking what he believed would be ultimate liberation and personal freedom. Yet what he found instead was not clarity, but rather unrelenting chaos, a vortex of his own making. His life has become a dizzying blur of incessant lawsuits, highly publicized documentaries, and awkward, forced red carpet. Appearances that increasingly feel more like burdensome obligations than genuine opportunities for joy. He's relentlessly waged legal battles against aggressive tabloids, furiously clapped back at pervasive media narratives, and delivered lofty, often impassioned speeches on mental health. Yet none of it seems to truly stick or bring him genuine solace or resolution. This is remarkably the very same Harry who once bravely commanded Apache helicopters in war zones, who honorably bore the immense responsibility of representing the crown on demanding global stages, who founded the inspiring Invictus Games and, in doing so, truly instilled belief and purpose in countless wounded veterans. That man, that strong and purposeful figure, now feels tragically like a faded photograph, still vaguely recognizable, yet distant, profoundly dimmed, and almost entirely lacking his former vibrant energy. Today, he appears to be someone who physically escaped the castle, but, in a tragic oversight, forgot to pack his own fundamental identity, a royal without a purpose, caught in a desolate no-man's land between celebrity status and exiled nobility, desperately striving to prove his continued relevance in a world that, with alarming speed, has already moved decisively beyond him. Meghan, conversely, charges forward with the astonishing velocity of someone who possesses an unwavering and crystal-clear sense of direction. Branding deals? Already accomplished? Ticked off the list? Hollywood meetings? Consistently strategic? Always in the pipeline? Partnerships with powerful A-listers and influential female executives? Most certainly in the works, continuously expanding. Podcasts, compelling documentaries, lucrative lifestyle ventures, interviews imbued with just the right touch of carefully crafted enigma. Every single element is meticulously integrated into her expansive and ambitious grand design. She isn't aimlessly wandering or searching for purpose. She is unmistakably ascending, her trajectory pointed firmly skyward. And if her latest highly scrutinized appearance in People magazine serves as any reliable indication, she has absolutely no intention of pausing for Harry to catch his breath or regain his footing. The disparity between them couldn't be more pronounced or more striking. Meghan embodies the very essence of the future, relentless movement and unstoppable momentum. Harry, he's perpetually spinning his wheels, ceaselessly searching, still caught in a never-ending shadow boxing match, with a past that, quite simply, no longer wants him back, and a future he seems unable to grasp. What's even more profoundly unsettling is her apparent composure and almost unnerving comfort amidst this increasingly stark divergence. Meghan seems entirely unperturbed, profoundly emotionally detached, like a woman who's already fully processed the rather inconvenient idea that they're no longer operating on the same page, and is now, with polite yet firm resolve, quietly turning that page herself. Harry, by painful comparison, looks like he's desperately clinging to a version of their shared union that exists solely within the romanticized and perhaps fictionalized pages of his memoir, Spare, a version where escaping the monarchy would magically be the ultimate solution, rather than, as it has proven to be, merely the disorienting beginning of an even larger and more complex problem. The grand exit from royal life didn't miraculously fix anything. It simply changed the scenery. Now, as Meghan methodically builds her next vast empire in sun-drenched Montecito, Harry is rapidly becoming the spectral ghost haunting the guest house, still gripping tightly to a royal past that has, paradoxically, become an inescapable and heavy liability, dragging him down. This isn't a dramatic marital dissolution or a fiery breakup in the traditional sense. It's a calculated, systematic phase-out. And if you're eagerly anticipating a dramatic, explosive climax to this ongoing saga, you should temper your expectations considerably. There will be no public social media unfollows, no overt, embarrassing red carpet snubs, no chaotic, unscripted Instagram live outbursts filled with raw emotion. No. This particular narrative arc will conclude precisely as all expertly managed public departures do, with meticulously controlled narratives, profoundly emotionally distant phrasing, and, ultimately, a final, carefully worded joint statement that will likely read more like a sterile corporate press release announcing a business merger than a heartfelt farewell. Because for Meghan, the primary objective was never about the messy, unpredictable drama itself. It was, always and unequivocally, about meticulously crafting and controlling the ultimate image. And in that absolutely crucial domain, she is already several brilliant moves ahead. While Harry remains stubbornly entrenched in defense, continuously battling the ghosts of his past, Meghan is gracefully and calmly walking off the field, dry-eyed, impeccably styled, and unequivocally poised for her next perfectly orchestrated chapter. The lingering question, therefore, remains paramount. As Meghan continues her seemingly unstoppable ascent to her next exquisitely curated venture, will Harry be tragically left behind, forever a somber figure caught between a past he cannot escape and a future that has, without a backward glance, already moved decisively beyond him? The Montecito maneuver has only just begun, and it is with chilling certainty Meghan who firmly wields the pen. For years, the meticulously crafted narrative presented to the world was one of a formidable, united front standing boldly against the rigid and often suffocating traditions of the monarchy, a veritable fairy tale escape to what they promised would be true and unfettered freedom. Yet the recent and highly public People magazine profile shatters this carefully constructed mirage with the cold, precise impact of a surgical strike. It doesn't, in fact, reveal a couple moving forward in harmonious lockstep, but rather two individuals now clearly on wildly divergent paths, their once shared brand now appearing to be little more than a meticulously maintained facade. The fissures and cracks in this expertly painted picture are now undeniable, starkly exposing a truth far more intricate, deeply complex, and perhaps far more painfully tragic than any casual public spat or even a full-blown royal row could ever convey. The Archewell banner, once touted as a powerful symbol of their combined vision and shared purpose, now appears to serve exclusively as a grand stage for Meghan's singular, captivating performance, with Harry relegated to a supporting role he quite clearly never genuinely auditioned for. Meghan's very public and increasingly prominent embrace of concepts like joy, community, and holistic wellness isn't merely a private, personal journey of self-discovery. It is, in reality, a profoundly strategic weapon in the ongoing, brutal public narrative battle. By meticulously positioning herself as the enlightened figure, the serene guru focused intently on inner peace, positive growth, and spiritual alignment, she implicitly, yet powerfully, cast Harry as her direct antithesis, a man perpetually trapped in the past, seemingly burdened by an overwhelming negativity, and tragically resistant to necessary change. This is the sophisticated art of psychological warfare, elegantly packaged in flowing linen, an air of calm, and the subtle scent of aromatherapy. It brilliantly allows her to subtly deflect and shift blame without ever uttering a single harsh word of direct accusation, creating a pervasive public perception that she is undeniably the mature, forward-thinking partner, while Harry is the one actively impeding their collective advancement and shared future. It's an undeniable PR masterstroke, leveraging the universally appealing language of self-improvement and spiritual growth to carve out a distinct, highly advantageous, and virtually unassailable position for herself. The very bedrock of their union, once passionately showcased as an unbreakable bond forged in the crucible of adversity and against the formidable might of the establishment, now appears to be steadily and inexorably coming apart, thread by painful thread. The opulent Montecito residence, initially conceived and presented as their idyllic, impregnable sanctuary, might instead be revealing itself as a luxurious yet suffocating gilded cage for Harry, a constant and inescapable reminder of the life he chose and perhaps the life he inadvertently, yet irrevocably, lost. The striking and increasingly noticeable absence of Harry from Meghan's personal narrative, her unwavering and laser-like focus on her individual growth, her burgeoning entrepreneurial ventures, and her personal well-being, paints a stark and undeniable picture of a partnership that is profoundly emotionally, if not yet legally, fractured. The unified front they so dramatically presented against the palace has seemingly dissolved entirely into a singular pursuit of individual ambition, leaving Harry to contend with the isolating wreckage of his past, largely and tragically, in complete solitude. The palpable and ever-increasing tension within their dynamic stems from what appears to be an unavoidable and cataclysmic collision. Harry's unyielding, almost obsessive focus on the past, crashing head-on with Meghan's relentless, almost brutal sprint toward the future. He is still, frustratingly, fighting battles long since concluded, tirelessly seeking validation from an unforgiving institution that has, in no uncertain terms, ghosted him, and perpetually reliving traumas he so vividly recounted in his best-selling memoir. She, conversely, is already, with astounding foresight, meticulously envisioning her next multi-million-dollar business venture, her next high-profile philanthropic initiative, her next precisely choreographed public appearance. This fundamental and irreconcilable divergence creates an emotional chasm so vast and profound that no shared address, no joint title, and no curated public image can possibly bridge it. The crucial question is no longer if these two disparate paths will diverge completely and irrevocably, but when and what dramatic, public spectacle will inevitably accompany the final, undeniable splintering of the once idealized Montecito dream. The suspense is building,